of a no deal. As someone who's in the opposition, what are you thinking when you hear that kind of statement?
I think he's right. There is a real risk of a no deal. And the other thing I think is that we have to say that Theresa May staying on any longer is actually incompatible with democracy. She doesn't have any legitimacy to remain on as Prime Minister, in my view. And I think it leaves all of us beholden to a government that is hanging on to commitment to the Democratic Unionist Party, and I don't think that's fair, and it's particularly not fair to the people of this country. I mean, if we think that without Westminster, what do Westminster want without a deal? We also need to know what our government want to do if there's going to be no deal, because they have told us all along they would not impose a border. They told us all along there will be no border, but it seems now that negotiations are intensifying about what might be the alternative, and we need to know, the people of Ireland need to know what the hell they are talking about.
I don't think it's fair to keep our government. Well, the only thing we have control over, we can't tell Theresa May what to do, so saying that she has no legitimacy is pointless to that end. But do you have faith?
It's not pointless for me to have a point of view.
No,
and I think there's a lot of people in Britain would have a similar point of view, and that's all I was expressing.
Irish people don't control what happens in the UK, so we can't have a view about what's happening here. Do you have faith in Fine Gael's stewardship?
I don't, and I've always repeatedly said it. I don't have faith in them, and we'll wait and see what happens. But I believe they're coming under pressure now from Macron and Merkel to do something about the imposition of a border, but they won't tell us anything. So we can't do anything about the British government, you're right, but let's do something about our own government giving us information or not.
We'll get to the whole thing about the EU.
I just want to bring Brid in quickly. Brid, people before profit, what's your view of a border? Are you looking for a border poll?
Well, yeah, because I think it just is obvious. All of this mess makes it very obvious. It does not make any sense any longer to have two different political and economic entities on this island. It really doesn't.
Are you going to persuade unionists of that? If the unionists have been so strong about maintaining the union as part of this process, if you were to have a border poll at the moment, wouldn't you have the same? No, but let me just put this point here. Would you not have the similar situation to what the mess in Brexit? You can't have a poll until you know exactly what type of United Ireland we'd have.
Exactly. And I was going to propose something in this, and it's not rocket science, and it's been tried and tested in this state to some effect already, that we have something like a citizens' assembly to get people around the table talking about the possibilities and looking at the solution to a hard border being having no border whatsoever. And the thing is that a majority of the people in the north voted to remain. And we all accept the democratic outcome of the vote. The majority in the north votes to remain. It doesn't make sense to have two different entities on this island. We could get everybody around a table for a couple of weeks talking on different modules about how this may work or may not work. And remember that socially as well, there's a lot more in common with the north and the south now than there ever was. People in the north, the spillover
would you share, Michael, would you share the optimism we're hearing there from Brid?
For abortion rights, for Irish language rights has never been stronger.
With the best will in the world. And
police to go out on Sunday morning when obviously Saturday night is such a big night out for so many people. I would have thought that's common sense. I mean, if you want to catch a fish, you don't cast a hook into your living room. You at least go to where there's a river.
Well, the Gardaí's recent history leaves a lot to be desired in terms of the record on penalty points, on the whistleblowers. No, I'm not. I'm just making the point that they're not squeaky clean in their record of how they've approached a lot of policing issues. They've made a commitment to change, and there's been a lot of changes made. But I think it was a stupid thing for him to say, an absolutely stupid thing, and I think he realised it and retracted it. But by the way, it's only within a week or so that he did something else and retracted, and that was he voted against the government on the noise pollution, airport noise pollution bill, and then said afterwards, oh, I didn't mean to that, I pressed the wrong button. But if one presses the wrong button when you're voting, there's an opportunity for you to go down to the clerk and get it changed. He didn't do that. So he's on record now of voting against a bill in his constituency to satisfy some of his constituents, but in reality he made out he changed his mind. I mean, this is poor politics. But I do think there's a problem with how independents who go into government and back up a government on single issues and then become almost like an excuse and give a fig leaf to the government. He didn't go against them on the housing crisis, on the health crisis, of which department he's a minister. And as already has been said, the queues for children with disabilities, for people to have their rights vindicated with disabilities under Finian McGrath, it's left an awful lot to be desired. And I think it brings into question the role of independence in going into government for just single issues, like Shane Ross did for his single issue, like others do for their single issue. They become excuses for the government. They back them up. They give them fig leaves. They don't have principles. They're a bit like Groucho Marx, who says, I have principles, but if you don't like them, I have some more.
John, would you agree?
I think his record on disability is shocking.
Do you think everyone's a terrible minister? But I think
I'm speaking for the disability community.
Ask any of them out there. Ratifying the UN Convention on Disability Rights, the extra
but he wouldn't accept the protocol. People with disabilities have no way of vindicating their rights because he will not sign up to the protocol.
I believe Finian McGrath has done a pretty good job.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you think you vote against the government every time the motion
comes. No, I'm sorry. If you had
my point is that I think that he's continuing to serve in the government
and we're not able to vindicate their rights because he won't enforce that protocol.
Unfortunately, we don't have Finian McGrath here to defend himself.